Can you guys hear him or just that's me?
No, we can't.
No, I cannot hear him at all.
Check your back chats. Pastor Jeff. We can't hear you, Pastor Jeff.
You just need to unmic them.
And while we're waiting for Pastor Jeff to come back in with the live feed, guys, go ahead on and flash your mics. Everybody, go ahead and share the room out because we are officially GW3 is live. And I am loving that outfit that Pastor Jeff is sporting. Yes, Pastor Jeff, go ahead on and say something. Okay, so we can't hear you yet. Don't you just love technology? I just love it, girls. Yesterday, my light fell on. What he may need to do is to leave and then come back in. Do you have your headset on, Pastor Jeff? We don't hear you in the clubhouse either, Jeff. So let's see if we can get you in the clubhouse as well. No, we don't hear you in the clubhouse, nor do we hear you live on the live feed. So in the meantime, while we're waiting for Pastor Jeff to his connection, maybe it's just right there in the cord. You know, we've seen this many times also with the man himself, Mr. Glenn Lundy. We're going to go ahead on and just, you know, focus, share
we asked 2 questions in there, Pastor Jeff. We're just having one of those days. I just realized I was on mute on the live. We're gonna get through this one, Renee. We're gonna get through this one. So we're off of mute. So everybody, if you can still hear me on the Clubhouse, go ahead. Somebody let me know that you can hear us on Clubhouse.
Yes.
All right. So and then if you can hear me on the live, Renee, are you able to hear me on the live?
Yes, we are. The live is live.
All righty. So now we've got it. You can hear me on the live as well as hear me on the Clubhouse. We're just having one of those days, but we're just going to get through it and move on. And so we're going to start, if those who do not know our format, we normally ask 2 questions that the butterflies and the ladybugs would like to know. And then we go into questions that are pertinent to the men. So the very first question right out of the gate, as we're talking about the power of a man, the first question I think feeds into that. And that is, men, that the question is, when a man is pursued by a woman, by a woman, does that demasculate the man? When he's not able to chase, when he is the one who is chased, does he become demasculated? Go ahead. And if you're on the stage, go ahead, unmute, say your name, let us know who you are, very quickly what you do, and your answer. Is a man demasculated when he does not have the opportunity to chase, when he is the one who's chased? Chris, did I see you on the mic?
Yes. Hello, everybody. I just had a question, and we're talking about in a godly manner, right?
It's you can, from whatever perspective, and if you would, I think do you have a speaker, or are you on your headphones? Because I'm getting a little bit of feedback.
My headphones. I'm in a restaurant.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, from whatever perspective you want to approach it from, Chris.
I grew up in a city on the East Coast, and I lived in Chicago for a few years, and those women are aggressive. I was young, I was in my teens and early 20s, so I wasn't really pursuing like a intimate, a committed relationship. I don't know how I felt about it at the time, but now I would prefer that I pursue the woman. And usually a woman will let you know that she's interested, like interested discreetly, but like noticeably. And I believe that is a good indication, like dropping a handkerchief back in the day. A woman would do something like stand in the hallway to let you know, like, hey, notice me, because she has some type of interest in you. And I'll mute the mic right there.
Very interesting perspective. And yeah, back in the day, as we say, there were some things that were considered chivalry and appropriate behavior for a man, like standing up when the lady leaves the table and come back. And today, if you do that, you might not get to eat. She might leave. She might leave. If you got 6 ladies at the table and you're standing up every time one leaves the table. So the question is, do you show that, or do you just let it stay in? And that will lead to the second question, but I want to go ahead to some other men before we get to that second question. So thank you so very much, Chris, for your perspective. I see Bobby blinking his mic. Go ahead, Bobby.
Hello, Pastor Jeff. Today's a phenomenal day, man. It's good to see you again. I think this is my 3rd Friday, so everything's going great. With that all being said, man, I have a different perspective because I am a younger guy, So with that all being said, a lot of these women are just after our dollars. They want money, and not everybody has money, but we do have honey. So with that all being said, protect your energy.
Hey, Bobby said, protect your energy. If there are some gold diggers out there, yeah, you definitely got to protect yourself. I hear you, Bobby. Thank you for that perspective. and we're going to look around the stage. If there's someone else, another gentleman on this stage that would like to, Peter, are you with us? Flash your mic if you're with us, Peter.
I am, but I'm on a plane. She's about to take off, so I have to be done. But I put my comment in the chat.
Okay, thank you, Peter. Peter put his comment in the chat. I'm going to see. And Peter said, I do not feel emasculated. I do not mind the chase. This is because I am scarcely available to decipher interest. I chose not to pursue for lack of rejection. And so thank you, Peter, for putting your comment into the chat. And, for each man, it's going to be different. As Peter said, he enjoys the chase, and some men don't enjoy the chase. Some men adhere to a woman is to be found, and they are the one to find her. And others, we heard Bobby from a younger perspective. And with that, so that was the very first question. And so then the second question is, along with that, was do men feel any, let's see, how was it? Do men feel any remorse, I guess it was, for or regret for not acting on their chivalry? Do they feel do they feel some kind of way? Do we feel some kind of way when we don't act on our chivalry? Let's go to Chris. Chris, the mic is yours. How about it? When you're out and there's certain things that's in you that you wanna do, but you say, no, don't want to get to. Is there any remorse about there? Is there any kind of feeling? Do you feel some kind of way about that? How about it, Chris?
Can you give me an example?
Well, Chris, say that I gave the example of, back in the day when a woman came to the table. If you were out at to dinner or a function, you would pull a chair out for you and when she came to the table, and then if any woman left the table, you stood up when she left the table, and you stood up when she came back to the table. So if you kind of came up with that sort of chivalry, or that's the response to man, and you don't do it, do you feel any guilt? That was the word that was asked. Do we feel guilty when we don't exhibit that type of chivalry?
No, I mean, every situation is different. I know I make an effort when I'm approaching the door at the same time as a woman. I'll let her know, like, hey, I'll get the door for you. And if she beats me to it, I'm not going to feel guilty about it.
All right. Thank you, Chris. It will go to Bobby. Bobby, how about you? Is there any guilt?
I wouldn't say it's guilt, Pastor Jeff. It's just I was raised with my mom, and I seen a lot of the things she did, and I noticed the different men that came around, and I turned into those men throughout the time. So, and they were always positive influence as well. So it's like it's a give and it's a take world. It's all about how you present yourself and how the woman presents herself. And I might have got off track, but I think I'm still with you.
No, you're with us. You're with me. You're with me. And, again, we ask the questions that the butterflies and the ladybugs want to hear the men answer. And so I think it's good that we're able to give those answers from different perspectives, from different generations of life. And so that was a question. Do we feel any guilt when we don't act on that chivalry? And, Pastor Jeff will just say that and I see James in the audience. James, if you'd like to come up, raise your hand and please come join the conversation. I actually had a situation where I was out and I didn't do all of the things that I was brought up and taught to do. And I felt some kind of way about it, but then I also weighed out whether or not my actions would have been taken the wrong way. We are living in a society in some areas, like in the ATL, I think there's like probably about 20 women to one, 20 women to one man. And therefore, there are women that will chase you, will let you know that they are interested, and you may not be interested. So you don't want to get wrong intentions. And so with that, that was the two questions for the ladies. So and the butterflies and the ladybugs. And so when we'll go to the question for today, let's talk about the power of a man. The power of a man, gentlemen. In your opinion, what is the power of a man? In your opinion, what is
Energy.
the power of a man? Go ahead, unmic, say your name, and let us hear your answer.
This is Bobby Johnson. It's energy because you just said something that came out your mouth and it kind of had me in my brain thinking about, oh, maybe he think this, that, and third. So it's energy. Everything is energy. Everybody makes up their own perspective. It's paradigms. Because Pastor Jeff said this, here's the effect of how I thought about it after that came out of his mouth. So it was really just, it's energy. But if you could add to that, that'd be great.
All right. So energy can be positive, energy can be negative. And so where would you put it on the spectrum, Bobby?
I'm sorry, I don't recall. What do you mean by spectrum?
All right. So there's positive energy, there's negative energy. And I agree with you 100% that the power comes from energy. And so how do we define, or how do we exhibit more positive energy than negative energy, or operate on higher frequencies versus operating on negative frequencies? If you understand that without the question there?
Yes, absolutely. We have to think positive.
Okay, we have to think positive. All right, absolutely. I'm checking my messages here. And Chris, would you like to chime in on that as well?
Oh yeah. I believe the man's power comes from his submission to Christ. And the more submitted you are to Christ and take your role as king and priest, then that is where you get your level of power. And I was noticing as I read through the kings of Israel, as it got past Saul, David, and Solomon, the text gets shorter when they start describing the rest of the kings. And there's, I might get it wrong, but it's saying like, this king did right in the eyes of God. This king did wrong in the eyes of God. When you want to operate as a king in his authority and you do right in the eyes of God, you can read those actions that the king did and mimic it. And Jesus demonstrated that on earth. And he gave us that ability when we submit. He gives us that ability when we submit to him.
Absolutely, Chris. From that biblical perspective, we have to operate from that energy that we receive from God. So thank you, Chris. And Peter, of course, is on the plane. And we want to see Triple J is in the house. We'll see if we can bring Triple J up. He may or may not be able to speak on today. Hopefully, he can join in on the conversation. And hopefully James can join in as well, so we can get as many viewpoints as possible on this idea of men and energy. Now, one of the things that we saw on the and thank you, James, for joining in. And how are you today? Are you with us, James?
Yes, I'm here.
All
Sorry about
right.
that.
Oh, well, thank you. Welcome to Tom Ford Fridays. Thank you for joining the conversation today. And so the question is, the idea, when we think of the idea of energy and power, where does man get his power from? Where does he get his energy from?
About the only thing I can think of is just kind of something, maybe about stability and just confidence in general. Um, I don't know, that's about all I can think of. Just stability in the world and just within itself.
All right, we appreciate that stability and energy within itself. One of the things that here many of you already know, I live in Augusta, Georgia, the hometown of the late Godfather, so Mr. James Brown himself, and he often said, "It's a man's world, but it ain't nothing without a woman." And so my question would be: is it from the influence of a woman that a man derives his energy? That a man will shoot for the stars, will shoot for the moon, that he will go beyond what he would for himself, because really it doesn't take much for a man to live. And so is that energy really derived from his association with a woman that supports him, that affirms him, that validates his dreams and gives him a drive, a drive, a drive? How about it, men? Is it that woman that causes a man to operate in his power? What do you say, Bobby?
My bad. I was doing my you know how it be with us young people. We like to type and stuff. But I was getting ready to put something. Let me just finish what I was saying, what I was gonna say, and then can we add back to that?
All right, sure. Let's go to Chris and we'll come
Okay.
back to Bobby. Chris.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Chris, what do you say about that? Does a man really derive his energy from and his drive from his association with a woman?
Well, I like to give honor to the mothers because it is through a woman that every human being is. They're the result of every human being being in this world, right? Now, I believe a good woman, could be a strong factor in that drive that the man displays and making sure that he's taking care of her. And I like the scriptures that describes a woman as the crown to a husband. So I'm single, so like a lot of my answers are from a single perspective. At the same time, a prudent wife comes from the Lord, and if that wife is a crown to me, her husband, I like my crown to sparkle. So I believe my energy would be to making sure that she is cultivated, she is protected, and I'm doing what God would want me to do in that relationship.
I like that, Chris. You said you like for your crown to sparkle. That's right. I think most men want their crown to sparkle. So thank you so much. And we'll go to see if Bobby's ready. Bobby, are you ready?
Yes, sir, I'm ready. But I was just a little occupied. So what we talking about?
Yeah, so we were saying, dude, is it that a man derives his energy, derives his power from the support of a woman? We talked about James Brown had that saying, it's a man's world, but it ain't nothing without a woman. Men are simple. We don't need a whole lot. And so does our drive come from a woman?
My drive comes from my mama. Why? Because I was raised by my mom. Like no woman can do anything more than what my mom and already did for me, and that's give me my life for me to live it with purpose. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So it's like a woman can do a lot of things for you, but one thing she can't do is teach you how to love yourself.
Mm. Very interesting point. We'll talk about that as we go on. So thank you for that, Bobby. And let me see, who else do we have on the stage?
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead. On Mike, say your name and go ahead and give your answer.
Oh, this is James again.
Yeah, James.
But I kind of don't want to subscribe to like men are simple. I don't. I never did think that, and I never will, because I don't believe I'm simple.
Okay.
I think as far as like the power part, it's kind of diverted towards. It can be diverted towards trying to find a woman or keep a young lady. So maybe that could be like more what you're the better answer, I guess.
Say that again, if you don't mind.
Well, what was the question again?
So the question was, do we derive our power, our drive for our energy from a woman?
Okay, so I don't think the drive is from that, but it can be diverted to that.
Okay.
To get that goal, for that goal to get to find the woman you want and to keep her.
Okay, so you say it can be diverted to that. So your opinion then is that the man has this internal drive that that he's going to do with or without a woman? Is that
No, not necessarily with or without, but the drive could be towards different things, and one part of it could be towards trying to find a young lady.
okay? All right. Well, thank you, James, for that opinion. And that's what I love about the Tom Ford Fridays is we have different men from different generations and with different opinions. So the butterflies and the ladybugs get to hear really this barbershop conversation as men chop it up. Look here, I'm going to take a moment and pause. You're listening to the Tom Ford Fridays right here live on Facebook, YouTube, and on Clubhouse. If you haven't already joined the club, go ahead, join the club on Clubhouse. Hit that share button down at the bottom. Share on your other social media platforms. Share and get some more men into the room, as well as some other butterflies and some ladybugs, so that they can hear these conversations. Go ahead, put some black and white hearts if you're enjoying the conversation. And I'm just going to tell you up front, some may be asking, what's going on with Pastor Jeff today? Well, Pastor Jeff was not feeling his best, but I'm here and I'm bringing up the energy that I do have. So you all keep me in your prayers. But hey, we're just going to be transparent with you. My body has been asking for attention. That's how I'm going to say it. That's right. I'm going to say it's been asking for some attention the last couple of days. And so we're doing our best to give it the attention that it needs. So those of you who want to know what's going on with Pastor Jeff, that's what's going on with Pastor Jeff. So keep me lifted up. So put some black and white hearts in the chat for the men. And there was the statement that was made in one of when we first came on the air is that tough men wear pink. Tough men wear pink. Gentlemen, I want to know your perspective on that. What does that mean to you when you hear that? Tough men wear pink. Bobby, what does that mean to you, brother?
What it means to me, brother, is it's a lot of colors going around right now. Come on, man, keep it appropriate. It's a lot of colors going around right now, man. And pink is representing the women. With that being said, a king will get his queen.
All right, Bobby said it's a lot of colors going around. All right, all right. James, what about you, brother? What do you think about, excuse me, tough men wear pink?
My first thought was just manning up that, he's not the best guy when it comes to washing clothes, put in a white shirt, red shirt, and say, hey, let's just roll with it.
Oh, he said he's not the best at washing clothes. This was good. That was good. Thank you. I appreciate that one, James.
I know what you mean, and I fully support every type of cancer involvement. And I just do my part I'm trying to do my part whenever I can. But yeah, I'm 100% in support.
All right, that one perked me up. That one perked me up. That one got me to laughing, James. He said, you got a challenge with washing those clothes. All right. And we're going to go to Chris. Chris, what about you, brother? When you hear that statement, tough men wear pink, what that makes you think of?
I don't know. Like, I moved to Chicago, and that first weekend I was there, I got invited to this Odyssey. It's like a yacht, and we went on Lake Michigan, and I was hood to the core. And I seen these fly guys, man. They were like in pink, yellow, and I was like, I never saw men look so classy. Black men look so classy wearing pink. And I think it's just a confidence, like a confidence. Like you're not swayed by how people. You're not swayed how people think about you. You can wear any color and be confident.
Absolutely, Chris. There were some stereotypes. There were some social expectations and social norms and conditioning, especially for those of us who may be in the 5th or 6th or 7th decade of life. There were certain colors that were supposedly only to be worn by one gender. And If you were socialized that way, then you just simply didn't wear the color because that was the expectation. And so now we have a much broader expectation. And so wearing pink, a brother can wear pink, and it doesn't mean that he is a part of the LGBTQAA. It just means that he's confident. I like that. He's confident in what he wears. And this being October, being Breast Cancer Awareness Month, the color for breast cancer awareness happens to be pink. Color for prostate cancer awareness happens to be purple, another pastel color. And so a man who is confident in himself can wear whatever color that he wants. Keep it in mind, there are some colors that complement a particular skin tone better than others. But if you're supporting something, does it even really matter whether or not it compliments you or not if the purpose is to support a cause such as breast cancer? And so for me, it has a special meaning because my wife is a cancer striver. And through that process, I went to every appointment that she had, as many of you have heard me share. And so it was as though we both went through the cancer. With that note, I want to ask the men, when a woman, your woman, whether she's your queen or she's a prospective queen, how emotionally involved do men get with the health of their spouse or their um, um, fiance or their girlfriend? Yeah, gentlemen, how emotionally involved do we get in the health of the queen that we're with? Go ahead on Mike, say your name and give us an answer.
Yeah, this is Chris. I had an amazing time observing a woman. And forgive me, I'm in a restaurant, getting ready to take an Uber to catch a flight, and this caught me off guard. But I was about to lose my house, get foreclosed on it, and one of my church members, she was a woman, single woman. She traveled during the week, and she said I could stay at her condo while she traveled. I was like, nah, I didn't feel comfortable. She was like, take advantage of it. So I did, and I had a chance to see her operate as a single woman with no kids, but have nieces and nephews, and the demand placed on her. And then we had like some really healthy conversations of the things that she goes through when she just gets a checkup at the doctor. And so just to get a checkup at the doctor, she's talked about the certain areas that they check and how they have to prop her up and have these stirrups and how they put body parts into the machine. And I was like, oh my goodness, like that's what women go through when they go to the doctor, just a doctor. And I was like, I was like, just making notes. And I was like, when I get married and I know that my wife is going to the doctor, I'm going to do something special for her, like have a bath ran or something to make sure that she is comfortable when she gets back home after she gets molested, just getting a checkup at the doctor.
The way you put that is and that's perspective, that some men would have, the things that they have to go through for their annual checkups, equate that to being molested. I like that idea. All right, anyone else want to Bobby, how about you? Do you want to chime in on that one?
Pastor Jeff, I don't have anything right now for you, but I'm still here, man.
All right, appreciate it. And how about you, James?
Nah, I got nothing. I'm trying to get back to work.
Okay.
I'll see what I can do.
All right. James said he got nothing. And Chris did answer that one already. One of the things that we as men can do to support our ladies is to talk with them, go to them on their appointments, and see what it is that they go through, because it is quite invasive, some of the routines that they have to go through as ladies. And I don't think that it is that we men pay enough attention to it. We like, that's a woman, and we'll let her deal with what she's got to deal with, and we deal with what we've got to deal with. And one of the things, especially a woman who may be facing breast cancer, uh, needs is our support, our understanding, and just to be there, be there, even if we don't know how to fix it. And oftentimes we men, I think it's innate that we are fixers. We want to fix everything, and when we can't fix it, we may just check out. And gentlemen, what do you think about that? Is that accurate for us men, that when we feel we can't fix something, that we just check out and move on to something else? What do you say about it, Bobby?
I do feel like men can fix problems. Why? Because we're just vulnerable people. Well, I'm a vulnerable person. Women are vulnerable. I just like being vulnerable. Right now, I'm being vulnerable. I'm telling you what's on my heart. So we fix problems. That's why I was a manager.
Absolutely. That's what we do, Bobby. We fix problems. I appreciate that and your vulnerability. Chris, how about it? Do men just simply seem to check out when we've determined that we can't fix something?
I believe like someone that does that is a male, maybe like an older male, but a man will like tackle on that problem as long as it takes and be committed to that problem.
All right, all right. We thank you for that perspective. You made a difference between uh, being a male and a man, and sticking with it, whether you're able to solve it or not. Great perspective. James, how about you? Uh, do you think men simply check out when they've made a determination that they're not going to be able to fix a problem?
Just kind of depends. But if the problem becomes a situation where it's tearing you down, I would be long gone. But you just kind of do what you can do, and that's it.
So, would you mind sharing what an example of one of those situations?
Uh, I don't know, let's just say like there maybe have been a situation where I was trying to help a kid get into college and not just run the streets, but just trying to show them that it's probably a lot cheaper to go to college and make some money than to just try and be a rapper
Mhm.
and just send out CD after CD of nothing. But just go to college and get your education, or just pick up a trade, make some money, then maybe put that money towards your music career. But some guys just thinks with I guess this particular guy just thought it was a joke, and it's like after a while, it's like, why am I wasting my time? So I just kind of checked out, which is not good, but I may still come back around. But at the time, it's like, man, I'm just hour after hour, it's not getting through.
Yeah, I can understand that, James. It would seem as though then uh, all of your time becomes a waste. Uh, and I think that when a man feels that his time is being wasted, that he will divert his time to something else. Is that basically what you were saying?
Yeah, you can only just kick a horse so many times, something like that. However the phrase goes.
All
Bang
right.
your head on the door so many times for whatever. But that's it.
Okay. Well, thank you for that perspective. And I want to say again to each and every one of you gentlemen, thank you so very much for your vulnerability and for you sharing with us here on this Time for Friday. Um, um, Looking at some of the comments on Facebook. If those on Facebook and on YouTube, go ahead and put some black and white hearts in the comments on Facebook and on YouTube if you're enjoying the conversation. And want to remind all of the butterflies and the ladybugs, if you would like Pastor Jeff to ask a question to the gentleman, simply get in contact with me at meetpastorjeff.com or get in contact with Renee Noor, and we will put your question in the lineup of questions that the butterflies and the ladybugs would like to know. Now, Pastor Jeff may not ask it exactly the way that you phrase it, because the one thing that Pastor Jeff is not going to do, I will not ask a question that accuses our men of anything. So if it's an accusatory question, such as, for an example, why do all men cheat? That's an accusatory question. All men don't cheat. And Pastor Jeff is not going to ask a question like that. So,
Thank you.
absolutely. Look, I want you brothers to keep coming week after week, and I got better sense. The ideas for us to be able to have a conversation that supports us, as well as allows the ladies to hear the different perspectives of the different men. And as has been exhibited today, we don't all have the same idea. We don't all have the same perspective. What we're able to do in these settings is we're able to share. We're able to agree to disagree. And therefore, I believe that fits the definition of iron sharpening iron. And if you've ever witnessed iron sharpening iron, sparks fly. So, yeah, gentlemen, you never have to worry about Pastor Jeff asking these accusatory questions. But ladies, go ahead, send your questions in, and we'll make sure that we ask those as we continue to format. So go ahead and comment on your Facebook, comment on the YouTube, continue to comment in the chat on Clubhouse. And I will take time to see what's going on in Clubhouse as well. And I wanted to see what you. So go ahead. Who was that? Is that someone trying to chime in?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, go ahead,
I had a
Chris.
question. Were these, especially like the last question, was that in relationship to a man and a woman?
Well,
about running away from problems?
It was, but it's also, I believe that it's just the nature of of most men is that we have a nature to want to fix things. As we talk about relationships in these settings, then yes, with a woman, because we were talking about health, we were talking about breast cancer, we were talking about not becoming emotionally uh, absent when a woman is going through health issues. So, yeah, did you want to chime in from that perspective, Chris?
No, I was just making sure I understood the question.
Okay. Yeah. So from that perspective, and if a man wants to take it to a different perspective, that's fine. That's what these conversations are about, so we can better understand. And I think it also helps us men to hear a different perspective on these questions. Because sometimes we can think we're a long ranger, and yeah. So with that, trying to look at the comments so I can hear them well. Okay, someone's saying phenomenal questions. So the next question we want to ask the men is this: how important is it for a man to take care of his own health? How important is it, gentlemen, for men to take care of their own health? Go to the doctor when you need to go to the doctor. Oh, yes, yes. How about it? Man, how important it is for a man to take care of his own health.
Yeah, this is a tough one and a good one. With being self-employed, I have to learn how to get healthcare outside of like a job, right? At the same time, with having like high cholesterol as a kid, probably like early teens or maybe even younger, like dangerously high levels, I had to make sure from a young age that I watch what I eat. And it just so happens that my body rejects certain foods that scripture says stay away from, for his people back in the day. So I have had this health journey because of health challenges at a young age. And so to this day, like I grow my own food sometimes. I make my own juices sometimes. I get vegetables and I chop it up. I don't get anything out the can. Like watch my deodorant. don't have the aluminum in it, don't have certain toothpaste with certain chemicals. Like if it has those big long alphabet words, I try to stay away from it. And so I close the mic at that.
Thank you, Chris. And that's important for us to realize that as men, we have to take time out from work and hobbies and those things to actually take care of our health. Because definitely, if we don't do it, how can we expect anybody else? How can we expect our queens to do it if we don't do it ourselves? Thank you, Chris. James, how about it? And I see Richard has joined us. Thank you very much for coming up, and we'll come to you in a moment, Richard. James, how important is it for a man to take care of his own health?
I think it's very important. That again comes with some stability, like I was saying before. But I think it all kind of starts at a young age that you would probably give that information or pass that information on to your kids. Definitely to stay active in sports, and that right there just kind of does so much as far as um, everything health wise. Because if you're trying to run, you're not going to be eating a Twinkie as you're trying to run down the street, trying to exercise. It just doesn't work like that.
Absolutely, James. You bring up a good point, James, and that is that a man's perspective on his health care can be highly influenced by the way he was brought up. I like the fact that you brought that in. Is that if he didn't see his father taking care of his health, or your social economic status was of such that you only went to the doctor for emergencies, then that man may be less apt to go to the doctor, as well as to operate in preventive maintenance. In doing those things that will prevent hypertension and high blood pressure and diabetes and those type of things. So very good point, James. Richard, how are you doing today? Are you with us, Richard? All right, Richard.
Yes,
Hello?
can you hear me?
Okay, yes, we can hear you now.
Yes. Yes, yes. So thank you so much, and I'm glad to be part of this discussion. I think it's an interesting topic on men. So maybe just introduce myself. My name is Richard. I'm from Africa. Specific in Kenya. It's probably you've heard about Kenya. Yeah, and maybe just to contribute on the importance of men's health is that especially now in our context actually we've seen actually lags it in terms of men taking care of their health, and maybe some of this has been brought about by the issue of the I would call it poisonous masculinity, where we believe that as men that we are always well, never getting sick, and actually it's not just the physical health, but it's both mentally and physically. And when you compare probably to women actually, actually research has shown that when you compare women and men are more likely to maybe engage in issues to do with drugs, and some of these actually are some of the reasons that leads to risky healthy lifestyle. So I believe I think it's time that also men take care of their health. It's a concern, because I believe probably when we're able to save men, we're able to save a society. So thank you so much, and I'm glad to be part of this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Richard. That was a great perspective. It is not manly to ignore our health. It is not masculine for men to ignore their health. What we're going to do is we're going to take this conversation from the live. We're going to bring it all the way back to the clubhouse. And so, Pastor Jeff, it wants to say to each and every one of you who are on the live, look, if nobody told you today, you have an absolutely beautiful smile. If you don't believe me, go find yourself a mirror, bathroom mirror, compact mirror, rear view mirror, whatever kind of mirror it is. Find yourself a mirror, smile at yourself. I guarantee you, yourself is going to smile back. And when you smile back at yourself, take it as your creator smiling at you. Go share that smile with the rest of the world for the rest of the week, because smiles are contagious and frowns are frightening. Until next week, God bless you.